For the past year, there have been 2 VR games to really keep your eye on. Games that push boundaries and have unlimited potential. The first being Boneworks/Bone Lab, and the other being what I'm here to talk about today, Blade and Sorcery. I made a very brief video covering a few weeks ago, but I barely scratched the surface in that video if I'm being completely honest. Blade and Sorcery, if you didn't know, is the most brutal VR game by far. It prides itself on its in-depth melee combat, which feels extremely crispy. I don't understand how they do it, but it feels smooth, fluid, and just so crispy. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's an absolute behemoth of a VR game, and for a shockingly low price of just $20 US, it's a must-have. It's a masterpiece. This game is everything I wanted out of VR combat, so you all need to give it a great big purchase once you're done with this video, please. It's so worth it. Very recently though, the devs of Blade and Sorcery have announced the next big update for the game, Update 11. No, that's a lie. Update 12, or U11. I fucking did it again. Update 12. Update 12. It's fucking Update 12. U11. U12. Fuck! U12. I'll be covering the little things, cool things, really cool things, and something that has the potential to change VR forever, or at least a part of it. We might as well just start off with something small. Breakables. I honestly thought this was already in the game, so I wasn't bouncing up and down like out of my seat like a little boy or anything, but this is something that will definitely add for some cool kills. I can already imagine breaking a chair over someone's head or smashing someone's head with a face. The devs really are just pushing the boundaries of making everything as realistic as possible and polishing every last inch of this game as possible. And if they keep doing this, the game is going to turn out to be honestly the best VR game. And it really almost is, depending on who you ask. I know this is sort of off topic too, but this is easily the most well-polished VR game out there. And once you think they can't find a way to polish it anymore, they find another way to polish it anyway. I find that extremely commendable. But yeah, breakables. That's neat. Let's see what's next. Dynamic music system. The devs have already mentioned this a couple times, but dynamic music will go a long ways to make dungeons specifically way more fun and intense. And for those that don't know what dynamic music system is, it's basically a music system that ramps up the music when more things are happening on screen. For example, you start a fight, the music gets louder and more intense. You get the picture. Next, here it says animation overhaul. Okay. Now, on the surface, while this looks small, when you take into consideration the last update and its quote-unquote animation overhaul completely overhauled how the game felt completely for the better, by the way. I can only see this as another great way to polish the game even further and add some much-needed AI enhancements. Now this is something that has been a long time coming. For too long has it been just really inconvenient and time-consuming to install mods for Blade and Sorcery. You had to go to a website, download a mod, make sure the mod's compatible, and make sure you don't need another mod to make sure the mod works, and then drop it in a folder. It's just a big fat mess. Considering how mod-heavy Blade and Sorcery is, a mod manager like this is just loads of convenience. Just being able to click download in the game and get a mod is just going to be so much easier. Alright. Now, enough of the small things. It's time to get to the reason you actually clicked on this video. The main new mechanic that Warpfrog has just shown off is the ability to swim underwater. Please don't click off. I swear to God, it's more interesting than it sounds. Now, water was added in Update 11, but you couldn't really do anything in it unless you count drowning as a core feature. But swimming is something that I feel a lot of people just don't really understand how truly big it is. First of all, swimming in VR has just not been done, like, ever. At least not a completely physics-based one. How it'll work here is you do a swim motion with your hands, and boom, you can swim. You can drown and all that junk too, in case you're into that, I guess. Now, I'll bite. Swimming on its own isn't the craziest thing ever, alright, I'll admit. But it's when you start thinking about the gateway of possibilities that the mechanic of swimming opens up. The stuff you could do gameplay and combat-wise is limitless. Imagine, just think. Imagine grabbing someone and just bring them down underwater. You could literally waterboard someone to death. And as brutal as it may sound, come on, that is really damn cool when you think about it.
This flying cockroach came out of the drain of the bathtub. Being the courageous man I am, I captured it. Don't know how to kill it, so I guess we're gonna waterboard it to death.
Fighting with someone underwater could... I just realized you could actually probably do that right now. Because water's... Damn it. My point still stands! Fighting with someone underwater could be cinematic as all hell, but the main thing I like to talk about regarding this is the modding potential. I mean, just think about it. Before, an entire genre, section, whatever you want to call it, of video games was blocked off from being added to VR. Water levels. It was completely impossible. But now, it is, and the possibilities are just endless. You can now theoretically port the entirety of Dire Docks into VR if you want, and when you think about it that way, you kind of go, oh shit. Because Dire Docks in VR. Like, when you realize that you have an entire other plane of land to do things on, fight, explore, whatever you want. And obviously that is underwater. Just thinking about it, like, there's so much untapped potential when it comes to this. If modders truly take use and utilize this, we can get some of the craziest VR mods to date. Like I said before, the idea of swimming on paper sounds fucking lame, alright? But it's the potential of it that really shines through. Think of a mod, think of a mod where you start off traversing the lands of a ruin, but as you descend more and more through the ruins, the rooms become full of water, and eventually you come face to face full of rooms full of water that you have to traverse. Like, the dynamic level ideas that could exist with this mechanic fully realized just makes me so excited. VR itself just needs to get bigger, man. It just does. There's so many cool ideas and concepts for VR that just haven't been taken advantage of due to, and I know some of you are going to have to suck this up, so just strap on your big boy pants, a small community of VR users. As much as I don't want to admit it, VR is small. It's small. It's a little tiny little speck when you compare it to the greater video game landscape. So modders, game devs, all I can say is please do not let this idea go to waste. VR for the past few years has just been untapped potential that goes nowhere. Sure, you get a few shining examples of the opposite, like, obviously Blade and Sorcery and Bone Lab, but unfortunately, mods for VR are just not as in-depth as mods made for flat screen games. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini rant I did. If you did, consider dropping a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.